Hello everyone, this is COADB.com, or the Coat of Arms database, and today we are briefly going to discuss about 15 different coats of arms in the Marshal family. But before we get started, we wanted to let you know that we offer genealogy and ancestral research services at our website. Please visit the link in the description. We are typically able to trace your family's ancestry back several hundred years to determine who your ancestors were and whether or not they owned a coat of arms. The first Marshal coat of arms to discuss is blazoned Gules, a bend fusilly or. This belonged to William Marshal, who died in the year 1314. He was Lord Hingham and the first Baron Marshal, an English nobleman killed at the Battle of Bannockburn in the year 1314. He was the hereditary Earl Marshal of Ireland. Now, this position or title was responsible for individuals who needed to pay money to the king. He was in charge of ensuring that that happened, and it developed from an earlier period where the Marshal was responsible for taking care of the horses in the king's stable. Now, another Marshal was William Marshal. He bore per paleor and vert a lion rampant gules, armed and langued azure. William Marshal was born around the year 1146. He was the son of John, who was also a Marshal. He was the first Earl of Pembroke and an Anglo-Norman soldier and statesman who served as the Marshal to several English kings. And he married, and through this marriage to Isabel de Clare, he acquired the earldom of Pembroke. And he was eulogized as the best knight that ever lived. And here we see what could possibly be the tomb effigy of William Marshal. Similar coat of arms, this was borne by John Marshal, formerly Sheriff of Dublin, Ireland, who died in the year 1597. Next we have Or, 2 bars gamels, sable in chief, a chesrup between 2 mullets of the last. Crest, a griffin's head erased or, charged on the neck with a chesrup between 2 mullets sable. This was borne by the Marshals of Blueberry and Windsor in County Berkshire, England. They descended from Willis Marshal, who had son Christopher, and grandsons Edmund and Willis the later, who lived in the year 1623. Another coat of arms for Marshal family, granted to Henry Marshal, Esquire of Carleton, on June 1st, 1562, and it was also associated with Marston in Lincolnshire and Fiskerton and Doncaster and several other locations. A similar coat of arms borne by the Marshals of Abbots Anne in County Hampshire. They descended from Nicholas Marshal of Tid St. Mary's, who married Anne Donne and had sons John Thomas and daughter Anne, as well as grandson Thomas Marshal of Abbots Anne. Here we have a crest that was about to be granted, I think, but perhaps wasn't for some reason, in 1608 to Robert Marshal of Castle Carriganan in County Cork, Ireland, and to his brother Sir George Marshal of Colpark, Wiltshire, who was equerry to King James I, and they were sons of George Marshal and Mary Ward. Next we have one from Church Aston in County Salop or Salop in the year 1769. I was unable to ascertain who the armiger was in this one. If you know, please let us know in the comments. Next is a somewhat similar coat of arms that belonged to Thomas Marshal, Bailey of, well, not Thomas Marshal, but Thomas Marshal, Bailey of Auchtermudy, acquired the lands of Hillcarney in the year 1747. His son, Ebenezer Marshal Gardner, I believe that this arms was granted to him in the year 1792. Because in 1792, Thomas Marshal had already passed away. Next is Per, Paleor, and Sable, 3 greyhounds counterchanged, collared gold. This coat of arms was borne by John Marshal, who was an alderman in the city of London, England, in the year 1548. Next features chess rooks. This coat of arms was granted to Richard Marshal of Ivy House in County Somerset in the year 1573. Next is a coat of arms granted on December 21st, 1611 to John and Henry Marshal of Southwark, who were sons of Richard Marshal of Cockwood, County Yorkshire, England. They were grandsons of Thomas and the great-grandsons of Richard Marshal. Next we have Gules, 5 swords and satire, points upwards argent. This was borne by the Marshals of Milford in County Wiltshire. They descended from William Marshal of New Sarum, who had son George and grandson George Marshal of Milford, who lived in the year 1677. Next, this one features a mill rind and some antelope's heads. This, I believe, was the arms of Reverend Sampson Maniton Marshal, who died in 1833. He was clerk of Fremington in Devonshire, England, and the son of Ambrose Maniton. Next, a coat of arms that was granted to George Marshal, Esquire of Broadwater and Caddis Hall in Surrey, England, in the year 1850. He was a prosperous local timber merchant who acquired Broadwater in 1848. He was the son of Robert Marshal, Esquire, who descended from Thomas Marshal of Eastbourne, who left the county of Sussex in the year 1743. Here we see a picture of Broadwater House. And there are many more coats of arms, but that is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video and would like to discover who your ancestors were and whether or not they owned a coat of arms, please visit us at coadb.com. We also offer over 30,000 high-resolution images for $13.99 each, and we sell merchandise such as t-shirts, mugs, posters, and canvas prints. Thank you very much.